talking to a number of coaches about this event in particular, they said this is really anyone's race to win, because you just don't know how other people are going to line up, you know, based on who qualified in individual events and where they're placing their priorities. So it's you know, it's a great tactical game of kind of seeing what lineup you're going to go with based on anticipating what other people are going to do coming in.
Well, plus the mad scramble 2 weeks ago at everyone's conference meet, trying to get a time fast enough to make certain that you're protected. You don't want to run the 12th fastest time. You want to maybe run the 8th or 9th fastest time, because you don't know what's happening in other parts of the country.
You see Oklahoma State up there. They're always a force in the distance medley relay. They are the defending champions, and they hold the collegiate record, which they set last year. That collegiate record, 9:16:40. Virginia Tech up there, also Georgetown, 58 seconds for that opening 400.
And for several of these teams, decisions are made about what athletes are going to run in individual events that make the distance medley relay pretty much out of the question for them.
Well, and it has become more difficult too since you've moved to the format of having all men's events in a chunk and all women's events in the chunk, because you used to have the 5,000 in between there, where potentially, you know, you may have some, you know, give people a little bit more time to adjust. I mean, how great would this distance medley be if they had Nico Young on it like they did when they qualified? Obviously, you just can't do it because of the schedule. Actually, don't want to say you can't do it. Nico Young might be one of the very few who could, but certainly you have to be much more strategic in how you elect to race everyone. Still Virginia Tech doing a great job up front. There you have Georgetown, UNC that comes in loaded with great distance and middle distance runners, and now Oklahoma State and Brian Massow leading things off.
Drew Bosley trying to get his Lumberjacks up into the mix.
61 seconds for that last 400 meters, so slowing a bit, so starting to see a lot of bunching in there as Massow is trying to go up and battle Nicholas Plant for the lead.
It's Virginia Tech and Oklahoma State.
Talking with Dave Smith of Oklahoma State about the group he's brought here, and especially about this distance medley relay. He said Massow really has great cross-country strength that has carried over into the indoor track season. He finished 8th in cross-country as a true freshman.
Virginia Tech followed by Oklahoma State. Here comes Virginia.
Yeah, Virginia closing really strong.
That's Wes Porter, the junior for Virginia, putting his team into contention. They may pass first. Now Virginia Tech got the stick first. Now this is always just chaos. Of course, someone goes down naturally.
It's almost as messy as driving through Boston traffic, the exchanges that you have on the DMR. How about Virginia? Right up there into the thick of it. Had a great exchange there to put them in position. Virginia Tech has been there up front. That is Lincoln up front.
2:54.5 for Virginia on that 1,200 meter leg.
Judson Lincoln, who you saw earlier in the individual events, now stepping up for his team. He was second in qualifying for the 400 meters earlier, so he will be in the final tomorrow.
Here comes the second exchange with the Virginia Tech remaining in the lead, followed by Oklahoma State, then Virginia, then Georgetown, Michigan, Northern Arizona is well back.
Oklahoma State with Mady Yanori.
45.3 for Lincoln on that second leg.
Leaf, a freshman for the Cavaliers.
Now it's the 800 meter leg.
For Virginia Tech, it's Christian Jackson carrying the baton, and that is Mady Yanori for Oklahoma State. And Virginia, they have Alex Leaf. Mady Yanori, a really good 800 meter runner. He's run 146 outdoors. This is where you'd like to give your anchor leg a little bit of separation, right? It's a little bit more comfortable going in, especially into that critical exchange. 55.3, that first 400 meters of this 800 meter leg. Virginia has run really well from that opening leg on to put themselves in incredible position going into this portion of the DMR.
NAU is back in 11th place, non-scoring. They really have to have an amazing anchor by Brody Hasty.
Also an important event for Arkansas as well, of course, with, you know, the wealth of distance runners that they have. Here comes Medi Yanori on the turn.
Oklahoma State challenging for the lead on the final exchange. And they get it.
And Yanori was able to give Ryan Shoppy a little bit of clearance to take that baton. 149.2, the 800-meter leg right there. On the anchor leg for Virginia, Yassine Sato. Georgetown done a great job of getting right there into the thick of it. That top three with Camden Gilmore on the anchor leg. And Ryan Shoppy, a veteran in these types of situations. He was part of last year's national championship distance medley relay for Oklahoma State.
And part of their collegiate record quartet. So Oklahoma State, Virginia, Georgetown, Virginia Tech, Michigan, UNC.
There has been very, very little separation at any point in this distance medley relay. 59.5, that 400 meters to start things off for this anchor leg. UNC making a big surge to get into fifth. North Carolina, Jake Gebhardt on their anchor leg of the Tar Heels.
Northern Arizona remaining next to last.
Things have not moved at all since they took the baton for the anchor leg. No change whatsoever in position, and really very little change in terms of, you know, distance whatsoever. You'd kind of like to see somebody push this pace and get some separation as they come up with 4 laps to go.
North Carolina really the only ones that are making any changes. Jake Gebhardt now into 4th for the Tar Heels.
Keep an eye on Ben Shearer, the anchor leg for the Razorbacks. He's been running fantastic this indoor season. 159 through 800 for this group. Chris Bucknam said of Ben Shearer, he has been running great coming into the season, always been dedicated, but really dialed in. He also just has that distinct mustache out there, so he's easy to spot.
Arkansas currently in 5th, challenging for 4th, as Shoppy just running like a metronome.
No surprise that you would see Oklahoma State in this position, given the fact, the cross-country success that they had in the fall, winning the team title.
Shearer now into 4th as Gebhardt fades. Shoppy getting a little bit of separation as he gets ready for the final lap.
Camden Gilmore of Georgetown in threatening position as well, been running very patiently in 3rd behind Yato of Virginia, or Sato, excuse me.
By final lap, I meant final 400, but there is separation there. Georgetown now into 2nd place with Camden Gilmore. Virginia fading back to 3rd. Shearer trying to make a race of it, but he's in no man's land right now for Arkansas. Shoppy gets the bell, but it's better to be the hunter. Camden Gilmore keeping pace with him now.
That's all about how Shoppy responds, as Gilmore's going to come up on his shoulder, try to get around on the backstretch. Shoppy not going to let him do it.
Now he's got to run wide. Now he's got to run wide. Does Shoppy have enough to hold him off? Does Gilbert have another gear? Gilmore have another gear? No. Oklahoma State's going to win it.
3 in a row for the Cowboys of Oklahoma State. 3 in a row for
North Carolina ends up 4th, Arkansas 5th.
157 for that last 800. 355.6, that split, that great split for Ryan Shoppy. Oklahoma State The first back-to-back winners since Oregon in 2015 and 2016.